The European Bronze Age is characterized by bronze artifacts and the use of bronze implements. The regional Bronze Age succeeds the Neolithic. It starts with the Aegean Bronze Age in 3200 BCE, and spans the entire second millennium BCE in northern Europe, lasting until c. 600 BCE. History. The Aegean Bronze Age begins around 3200 BCE when civilizations first established a far-ranging trade network. This network imported tin and charcoal to Cyprus, where copper was mined and alloyed with the tin to produce bronze. Bronze objects were then exported far and wide, and supported the trade. Isotopic analysis of the tin in some Mediterranean bronze objects indicates it came from as far away as Great Britain. Knowledge of navigation was well developed at this time, and reached a peak of skill not exceeded until a method was discovered to determine longitude around AD 1750, with the notable exception of the Polynesian sailors. The Minoan civilization, based from Knossos, Crete, appears to have coordinated and defended its Bronze Age trade. One crucial lack in this period was that modern methods of accounting were not available. The eruption of Thera, which according to archaeological data occurred in c. 1500 BC, resulted in the decline of the Minoan. This turn of events gave the opportunity to the Mycenaeans to spread their influence throughout the Aegean. Around c. 1450 BC, they were in control of Crete itself and colonized several other Aegean islands, reaching as far as Rhodes. Thus the Mycenaeans became the dominant power of the region, marking the beginning of the Mycenaean era, a highly uniform culture that spread in mainland Greece and the Aegean. The Mycenaean Greeks introduced several innovations in the fields of engineering, architecture, and military infrastructure, while trade over vast areas of the Mediterranean was essential for the Mycenaean economy. The syllabic script, the Linear B, offers the first written records of the Greek language, and the religion already included several deities that can be also found in Olympic pantheon. Mycenaean Greece was dominated by a warrior elite society and consisted of a network of palace-states that developed rigid hierarchical, political, social and economic systems. At the head of the societies was the king, known as Wanix. Caucasus. The Makop culture was the major early Bronze Age culture in the North Caucasus. Some scholars date arsenical bronze artifacts in the region as far back as the mid-4th millennium BCE. Eastern Europe. The Yama culture is a late Copper Age, early Bronze Age culture dating to the 36th–23rd centuries BCE. The culture was predominantly nomadic, with some agriculture practiced near rivers and a few hill forts. The Catacomb culture, covering several related archaeological cultures, was first to introduce corded pottery decorations into the steppes and showed a profuse use of the polished battle axe, providing a link to the West. Parallels with the Afana-Servo culture, including provoked cranial deformations, provide a link to the East. It was preceded by the Yamna culture and succeeded by the Western corded ware culture. The Catacomb culture in the Pontic steppe was succeeded by the Srubna culture from c. the 17th century BCE. Central Europe. Important sites include Biskupen, Nebra, Zug, Switzerland, Vrabel, Slovakia. In Central Europe, the early Bronze Age Unetus culture includes numerous smaller groups like the Straubing and Adlerberg and Hatvan cultures. Some very rich burials, such as the one located at Lubingen with grave gifts crafted from gold, point to an increase of social stratification already present in the Unetus culture. All in all, cemeteries of this period are rare and of small size. The Untitled culture is followed by the Middle Bronze Age tumulus culture, which is characterized by inhumation burials in tumuli. In the eastern Hungarian Koros tributaries, the early Bronze Age first saw the introduction of the Mako culture, followed by the Ottomani and Gayulavar sand cultures. The late Bronze Age Enfield culture is characterized by cremation burials. It includes the Lusatian culture in eastern Germany and Poland that continues into the Iron Age. The Central European Bronze Age is followed by the Iron Age Hallstatt culture. Northern Europe in northern Germany, Denmark, Sweden and Norway. Bronze Age cultures manufactured many distinctive and artistic artifacts. This includes lure horns, ceremonial helmets, sun discs, gold jewelry and some unexplained finds like the bronze gong from Borkakra in Sweden. Some linguists believe that an early Indo-European language was introduced to the area probably around 2000 BCE, which eventually became Proto-Germanic, the last common ancestor of the Germanic languages. This would fit with the apparently unbroken evolution of the Nordic Bronze Age into the most probably ethno-linguistically Germanic pre-Roman Iron Age. The age is divided into the periods IV, according to Oscar Montelius. Period Montelius V already belongs to the Iron Age in other regions. Britain in Great Britain, the Bronze Age is considered to have been the period from around 2100 to 700 BCE. Immigration brought new people to the islands from the continent. Recent tooth enamel isotope research on bodies found in early Bronze Age graves around Stonehenge indicate that at least some of the immigrants came for the area of modern Switzerland. The Beaker people displayed different behaviors from the earlier Neolithic people, and cultural change was significant. Integration is thought to have been peaceful, as many of the early henge sites were seemingly adopted by the newcomers. The rich Wessex culture developed in southern Britain at this time. Additionally, the climate was deteriorating. Where once the weather was warm and dry, it became much wetter as the Bronze Age continued, forcing the population away from easily defended sites in the hills and into the fertile valleys. Large livestock ranches developed in the lowlands, which appear to have contributed to economic growth and inspired increasing forest clearances. The Devil-Rimbri culture began to emerge in the second half of the Middle Bronze Age to exploit these conditions. Cornwall was a major source of tin for much of Western Europe, and copper was extracted from sites such as the Great Orme Mine in northern Wales. Social groups appear to have been tribal, but with growing complexity and hierarchies becoming apparent. Also, the burial of dead became more individual. For example, whereas in the Neolithic a large chambered cairn, a long barrow was used to house the dead, the early Bronze Age saw people buried in individual barrows, or sometimes in cists covered with cairns. The greatest quantities of bronze objects found in England were discovered in East Cambridgeshire, where the most important finds were done in Ilam, Ireland. The Bronze Age in Ireland commenced in the centuries around 2000 BCE, when copper was alloyed with tin and used to manufacture ballybeg type flat axes and associated metalwork. The preceding period is known as the Copper Age and is characterized by the production of flat axes, daggers, halberds and awls in copper. The period is divided into three phases: Early Bronze Age 2000 to 1500 BCE, Middle Bronze Age 1500 to 1200 BCE, and Late Bronze Age 1200 c. 500 BCE. Ireland is also known for a relatively large number of early Bronze Age burials.